Hello everyone, welcome to the this is going to be the third quarterfinal of our quarterfinals here for the Clock Cup. Okay, so let's see how this goes. I don't think there's really anything else. We're gonna just look at the bracket stage right here. Um okay. So we already have a semifinal that's decided. It's going to be between Zaid and Caleb. And this match is going to be the first match to decide the first competitor of the semifinals. And they will be one of the competitors we see here. Okay, so, do you guys have anything else you want to say? Or,
No.
okay, we're going to get started. So, Carter, since you are seeded better in this match and also in the qualifier round, would you like to go heads or tails?
I got tails. That works for me 2 matches ago or whatever.
All right, cool. So let's do the coin toss here, and it's gonna be heads. So Vishwa,
Mm.
would you like to go first or second?
I'll go first.
You will go first. Okay, cool. So once you go first, that will begin the match. So good luck to the both of you. I will serve it up on both of you. Again, just call me if you need anything. We'll be stopping after for a halftime break when the sum of points reaches to 15.
First scramble.
Oh yeah, also enter in your times or a random time here.
Uh, Okay.
All right, so I have server def in both of them. Okay. And we are going to get started here. This is our first scramble. I talked to both competitors before this match. This is very interesting. Carter just came back from an official competition where he, let's just say, did not perform as well. He got, I believe, a 4.6 average, and then he got a mid 5 average at finals. It wasn't very, or something to the effect of a counting mid 5. It wasn't necessarily a great competition for him, but we're gonna see Vishwa in his first off here. Looking at the numbers, in terms of the odds for the chat right now, it's about 64% to 36, which honestly, that was more of a chance for Vishwa than I looked at before. But once Vishwa's done with this solve, I'll show you guys a statistic that I find interesting. Alright, Vishwa's gonna go. This is gonna set the precedent for most of the match here. That looked a little sluggish, or it wasn't really that sluggish. It's 4:31. It's a solved clock as well. Alright, Carter's gonna go in with a pretty quick flip, but that misturn that from that DR pin, that's gonna cost him his first point. Alright, so the first point goes to Vishwa here. This is very interesting, and as Vishwa gains this point, I just want to make it very clear that even though Carter definitely has, or at least seems to be more the favorite here, I would definitely not count out Vishwa, because if we look at the numbers here, they both have the same amount of Clock Cup wins. Carter Thomas only leads by 5. That's a really yeah. Carter's fumbling there. That's also a DNF as well. That's not going to be good. And in terms of official results, Vishwa is much better. In terms of the win losses, it seems to be that they both have interesting results in that department. But all Vishwa needs to do right now is solve the clock, and he gets a second point. This is not looking good for Carter. Not a great way to start off a match if you want to set the precedent for a blowout. Right. Vishwa's gonna safety that one. Yep. It's gonna be a 491. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good motion Vishwa's going on here. Okay. Looking at this scramble, not a lot here. I want to see if Vishwa can maybe Or maybe if Carter can take ground here. I believe Vishwa will be going first. Again, this is going to be who advances to the semifinals. And you really can't lose here. Or at least, yeah, yes. Alright, Vishwa's going. It seems to be careful turning, but I don't think that's going to cut it. Yeah, it's a 537. The first non-sub 5 for Vishwa. Let's see if Carter takes advantage of this. The first side looked, that D move looked bad, but I think that beats a 531. That's a 4 of some sorts, I believe. Let's see what it is. That is a 499. That is going to beat Vishwa, maybe not by the margin Carter wanted, but that's going to be a point for Carter, and that is all that matters to him right now. At least he's on the board at this point. A third point for Vishwa. Well, ooh, that was interesting. It's a scramble mistake, but a point for Vishwa is not great, at least for Carter. Alright, the D move looked interesting. That's going to be a mid-4. Or no, it's a 492. Carter is not performing up to expectations here. I believe he claims to average sub 4, but with all these nerves and pressure, I can understand how, and just sort of a little bit of an underwhelming competition performance yesterday, it is unfortunately going to be a factor that lets Vishwa maybe make this match a lot closer than we might think. Vishwa's taking his time. Okay. And that's going to be a 559. That is actually going to be a point for Carter there. Carter's camera. Okay, there we go. That's better. The score is now tied up at 2-2. It is even. Carter's using this. Okay. Alright. Okay. That scared me a little bit, Carter. Okay. Let's look at what Vishwa does here. In fast first side. Second side looked pretty good as well. It's going to be a 401. That is the fastest solve of this match, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that beats the 431 that Vishwa opened with. Interesting first side. Second side does not... that was kind of an interesting turn there. It's a 525. Vishwa gains a third point here. Vishwa could very well take over this match. Carter is... I feel like this is a good lesson for Carter here. That in some senses, competing officially is much different than competing at home if you're doing all these mindless solves. But I feel like what this format tests is not only just endurance, but it leaves a lot less room for failure because every solve counts. Alright, the first side looked okay. Second side, that looks sluggish. It's going to be... I don't know what that is, but it's not good. It's a 509. Let's see how Vishwa deals with this one. If Carter gets eliminated in the quarterfinals, I think that would be a bit of an upset, to say the least. But not necessarily terribly unexpected. Vishwa, after all, is the reigning NAC champion. That I mean, to say that Carter, it's not fair necessarily because Carter was not at NAC, but it is still an impressive feat on its own. That is a very smooth solve. 373. That's gonna be. That's going to be 4 points for Vishwa. If Carter is trailing right now, especially this early in the... I mean, not necessarily especially, but the fact that Carter is trailing, it's not good news. Vishwa hit the groovy. Caleb, you say it leaves a lot more room for failure. I mean, yeah, but in an average of 5, one of your solves is just not going to count at all, necessarily, but... in this sort of format, if you get a DNF, the 1 point difference really helps. Alright, I believe Carter is going second here. Yes, Vishwa's going to be warming up. Okay, Vishwa's going to be starting here. Alright. Vishwa starts. And it's not... yeah, it's DNF. This is going to be a much needed 3rd point for Carter, assuming that he doesn't DNF as well. Carter's clearly safetying here. Not checking for the backside, which I think is a risky move into safety, but it's going to be 3 points for Carter here. The time was a 484, which surprisingly is a lot faster than a lot of his non-safeties, which really strikes me, but maybe that's the strategy Carter's not implementing here. Maybe he recognizes that, maybe he doesn't. We'll see how it goes. Interesting Y2 flip. That looked smooth. That's going to be a 379. Not as fast to be the fastest solve this match, but at least very close. Let's see if Vishwa... looking at the scramble, there isn't really necessarily a lot to work with, but there's definitely a corner skip or two that can maybe boost him along with that edge skip on the darker side of the draw scramble. Fish was preparing, knowing that this point, if he loses it, will tie up the scoreboard. Fish was going. I don't think that's going to be the 3. That's going to be a 4. Yeah, that's going to be a point for Carter there. 4-4. That is the score right now. It has been tied up. I really wanted to see who takes the lead here. I don't think... has Carter taken the lead yet during this match? No, he has not. This is where it keeps going into blocks here. There was a block where Vishwa led, then Carter tied it up, then Vishwa led again, and now Carter tied it up once again. So let's see if the cycle breaks here or if it just continues to eventually what would be a Vishwa win. But it is too early to call right now. Okay. Cool. Y2 flip looked interesting. The second side, I'm not sure if that was necessarily locky, but that was a 452 and a solved clock. Let's see if Carter can beat this one. Alright. Carter's starting here, not really taking his time.
Oh my god. It's DNF.
It's DNF. It looked like there was some sort of timer malfunction, maybe. But that's a 384 Carter curse there. That's going to be a point for Vishwa. Carter is yet to take the lead. All right. This is quite an interesting match. Carter can't let Vishwa get too comfortable here because this has got to be a confidence boost for Vishwa, and a terrible, just this is not a confidence boost for Carter. That's gonna be a smooth solve. That will be a free 83. Carter's finally starting to gain some momentum here. Let's see. What is Vishwa going to do? Carter has a very fair chance of tying this one up. I just want to clarify Carter's warming up right now. Looks like a pretty fast warm-up solve anyway. Alright. Vishwa is... Oh, that was a weird second flip there. And also a pretty sluggish second side. That's going to be a 7. Yeah, that ties it up. Scores 5-5. Let's look at what the statistics look like. It's much closer than what I checked from before. One of the polls I got was earlier in the day you had Carter in the 80s and the 70s. Right before the match it was at 75%. Now that lead dwindles down to a mere 58 points. Only a margin of, I believe, 14. So, not 14. That's not right. It is 16. Margin of 16. So, let's see if Carter can finally take the lead during this solve. Vishwa is going first, though, so it does set a benchmark, which could either be a very intimidating one or a DNF, which would basically be a free point. Alright, that first side looked interesting. Yeah, that's a double flip, but a pretty 582. Okay. But Carter is probably very comfortable about this one. I think he has a very decent shot about taking the lead. That first side looked okay. The second side looks...
Oh my God.
Okay. That's...
Oh, I thought I lost that.
Oh, okay. Carter thought he lost that. I got very confused there. Because... Okay, that's going to be a point for Carter here. A very much needed point to take over the lead. Can Vishwa gain the momentum back? I think it might be starting to dwindle, but it is certainly not dead yet. It's a normal first side. The second side looks pretty smooth. That's probably going to be a low 4. No, it's going to be a 377. Carter's finally starting to get to his average. Let's see. Alright, Vishwa is starting off here. Well, not starting off, trying to beat this benchmark of 377, I believe. Alright, the first side didn't look great. The second side, I don't think that's going to beat a 3. It was a 494 or a 454. That was a nice try, but it's going to be 7 points for Carter. Carter finally starts to turn the tide here, especially since coming into this, he is the favorite. Who was BRD? BRD was Brendan. Brendan did beat Carter, but Brendan has not qualified because he did not beat Reed in solve difference. But Reed is eliminated, so. RMB is Ryan Michael Breen. Ryan Michael Breen did not make it to the bracket stages. Okay. Let's see here. That solved had potential, but the second side, those flips are really starting to kill him at this point. It's 776.
Man, no flip this.
Carter's gonna no flip this. That's quite a bold move to make. It's gonna DNF. I'm not sure if it's 7 simul or if it's Sheeran. Probably 7 simul. That's a safety. I think he did that on purpose because he knew that. Yeah, it's a 496. Okay. 8 points for Carter. Finally, someone takes over a commanding lead here. Not necessarily commanding, I should say, but it's starting to become more favorable towards Carter at this point. You know, the early game did favor Vishwa, but when you're at this point, when you have 2 more solves until halftime, it's interesting. You have to really think of a strategy here. Carter's going. First side looked. It looked. Oh! Okay, that looked fast. It's gonna be a 392. I feel like that looked faster than it actually seemed. Maybe it's just that second side there. But let's see if I mean Vishwa could beat it on the scramble given the circumstances. Yeah, that's an I mean, opting to go for the cross skip in the back. Yeah, no. Vishwa's not happy. 622. 9 points for Carter. This is where the commanding lead starts to become true. It starts to become a reality for Carter. Carter has won the past 5 solves in a row. So, and after this solve, we're going to a halftime break. I want to see if Vishwa opts for that because clearly Vishwa he's only produced 1 sub 5, and that was a 494. So, within the past 5 solves. So, I don't know how this is gonna work. And if we see actually, this is interesting. Vishal isn't necessarily overperforming. He's just taking advantage of the fact that Carter is just performing so poorly. But now that Carter started to regain momentum, this is where Vishla starts to lose. All right. Yeah. Again, the flips. Those seem to be haunting him. That's a 513. All right. The first side looked a little interesting. The second side's going to be good, though. That's going to be a 455. It's going to be 10 points for Carter. Heads into a double-digit lead here. All right, this is where we go into a halftime break. Do you guys want a halftime break? Thumbs up if you want a halftime break. Okay, cool. Both want a halftime break. We will be going back at around 8:58 Eastern, 7:58 Central. I'm gonna set a timer here. All right. All right, we are back. The score is 10-5 in Carter's favor. We will be starting off with our second half. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Carter, are you going first?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going
Yes.
first.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are going first. Okay. Um, you can. I will enter the next scramble once I serve it from you. Carter, you solve first. Good luck, and yeah, and keep in mind the win by 2 rule.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay, I will enter in the time here, and that starts off the second half. Okay, let's see how Carter takes this. This is gonna be really interesting, I think, because this is really gonna show if Carter is gonna have a commanding lead in his next match against Chambers, if that happens, or if that scenario were to happen. I want to see how the halftime break may have replenished him, or also maybe have broken him. That's a free 30 free from.
Oh, I didn't even realize 3.333.
Yeah, that's the best solve of the match so far. That's a great way to open it. Let's see if Vishwa can catch up. It's gonna be very hard to do so. Okay, let's look at it. That looks like It's not going to beat a 333. That's DNF as well, so it's going to be 11 points for Carter here. Not a great sign if you're a Vishwa fan or if you're Vishwa himself, but looking at this scramble, ooh wow, this could be either a massive choke or a massive point for Vishwa or Carter, because this is where you start to get to the point where you decide if it's a close match or not, because Carter's really starting to not open the gap here wide, and he's trying to get to 15 before Vishwa can even catch up. So we're gonna see what happens. Vishwa's taking his time here. That's also very interesting to see. Vishwa normally takes a lot of time during warm-ups, and Carter normally just cuts straight to the chase. So, all right. Careful inspection here. It's a interesting Y2 flip. Good first side. Second side looked probably slower than he wanted for the circumstances. So it's a 4:35. It's still a very solid time. Carter's warming up with a Mega Minx, which is interesting. Carter's taking his time. First side looked okay. Second side looked pretty good. That's going to beat it, I think. Yep, that's a free 68. It's going to be 12 points for Carter. That's a lot of points there. All right. Let's see. All right, looking at what we have here, Carter has taken all of the 8 solves that have just happened. So I just want to make that clear to everyone. It was 4-5, and Vishwa's been stuck at 5 for the past 8 solves, which is crazy, in my opinion. That's going to be a free 69. It's going to be a very hard time for Vishwa to beat. Vishwa actually only got 1 sub 4, and that was in his prime, sort of, when he had a really good lead over Carter early match. But that lead is now dwindling. Alright. Vishwa. Okay. First side looks a little sluggish. Reed said Carter is gaining back his momentum. I think Carter is already gotten his momentum right now. Because he is really speeding through all of these solves right now. It's going to be a 13-5 lead. That is absolutely commanding. This could be a double-digit loss for Vishwa if he doesn't tread carefully. What about me? I wasn't here. Oh, okay. We were talking about, I think Dwayne was referring to the graphic, I believe, because, yeah. Alright. Let's see if Vishwa can make an epic comeback, but honestly, I don't see what's gonna happen here. This is the benchmark for match point. It's DNF. It's almost a guaranteed match point for Carter here. What graphic? The one that's on screen right now. So like there's R&B on this thing. Yep, Carter is taking his time. That was a no flip solve actually. That's gonna be a 466, I believe. That's a 466 no flip, yeah. That's gonna be 14 points for Carter. Alright. One more point. And it all ends. Let's see how it goes. This is going to be the benchmark to beat for Vishwa if he wants to stay alive. Is this going to be Vishwa's last breath here in the Clock Cup? Alright, Carter solving the first side looks a little finicky. The second side, not as good. That's going to be 527. Can Vishwa milk out any other points here? Let's see what happens. This is certainly not the end. Vishwa can very much beat this solve. It's just that Carter has been overperforming so much. Not overperforming, but performing so well for the past 9 solves or so. Alright, Vishwa's not holding back here. That might be a mistake. Or might not. That's going to be a 423. Vishwa has 6 points right now. He will not lose by double digits. Carter is going to pull a Caleb. That's quite an interesting statement to say there. I mean, might be possible. Vishwa has to win the next 8 solves, so Vishwa just has to pull like a Carter at this point. Or has to pull off what Carter's been doing for the past 9 solves or so, which would be quite interesting to say the least. Alright, it's going to be the benchmark to beat. It's not going to be a hard one, though. It's a 532. It's a mid-5. Let's see. Is Carter going to let this chance slip up here? That's a good question. Good first side. Second side also looks good. I think that does it.
Quite the ending.
It's a 375. That does it. It's going to be 15-6. Alright. I just want to confirm that the final score is 15-6. Yes, that is correct. Yeah. Okay. So the final score here is 15-6 in Carter's favor. Do you guys want to just talk about that match for a little bit? Wait, I can't hear you. 1 second. We'll do this. Okay, 1 second. Alright, yeah. Cool. Alright. So, how was that match for you guys?
Felt pretty good.
Yeah. It started off good, but Carter got like 9 in a row. So, yeah. I don't know what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, that's fair. It's actually 10 in a row. That was...
Oh, 10?
Yeah. Wow. Carter, so for you, I think the most interesting part was actually I want to start with Vishwa here. I want to get his opinion more. Your early lead there, like that was quite interesting to see. You had a 4-2 lead over Carter. Um,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts about that? What were you thinking like during that lead, and what were your thoughts after you lost it, basically?
So initially, like, I did not warm up at all. Like, I just remembered the match like 10 minutes before it even started. So I was kind of surprised that I got a 4-2 lead. And then, yeah, after a certain point, I just like couldn't really solve. So yeah,
Yeah.
this
I want to ask something similar to Carter here. That early lead, your next match is going to be against Jake. Well, it's most likely, if
you
currently,
can never say for sure.
you can never say for sure, but you're either going to go up against Jacob Chambers or Joshua Marriott. Early leads like those, or early trails like those, like where you're trailing behind the other competitor. How does that make you feel? Like, how are you gonna prepare better so that doesn't happen?
I mean, I pulled myself together like a lot through the end. I got like a 3.7 average of 5 or something, which is like all right. And that so like as long as I can just like get those bad solves out of the way, I'll be fine. I can just do well the rest.
Yeah, but I do want to share with my logic though. I think like close matches or matches that are extremely close, I think it's going to be very interesting to watch because those early solves might make or break uh, the match as a whole, essentially. So I'm looking forward to your next match against uh, Jacob or Joshua.
Yeah.
All right, Vishwa, do you have any other comments you want to add before we inevitably have to say goodbye to you?
Not really. It was a good run.
It was a good run. You had your record's 2-2. Your solve difference is well, now it's in the negatives, but before it was +5, so that's pretty good. Um but yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Carter, do you have anything you want to add?
Nope.
No. Okay. Oh yeah. Actually, I do have one more question for you. What are your thoughts? Do you have any other additional thoughts going into the your next match?
Uh, I mean, if it's against Jacob, that'll be fun because like I doubt I'm gonna win, but it'll be fun.
And you also have the third place playoff between, assuming that you lose the semifinal match between either Caleb or Zaid. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Forgot about
I
that.
think that would be interesting to watch.
Mhm.
I think yeah. Um, okay, so we're gonna end it there. I will see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna do Jacob versus Joshua, and then it'd be after that